You are now listening to Playbook Radio. Here is your host, Martin Williams.
Welcome to Playbook Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. All the links to the podcast can be found at GamePlanPlaybook.com. That's GamePlanPlaybook.com. So today, what I wanted to talk to you about is why it's hard to repeat. And this is coming from a result that happened last night. The New York Liberty, the WNBA defending champions, were eliminated in the first round by the Phoenix Mercury. And admittedly, I don't watch a lot of WNBA. No reason, just busyness for no other reason than that. But, that caught my attention, and I wanted to talk about it because it dovetails into something that a lot of athletes have said over the years, and Tim Grover wrote about it as well in his book Winning, about why it's hard to repeat, right? It's hard to repeat. Because, when you win, whether it's a championship or, you win a new job, a new opportunity, you win the business, you win the client, you win the girl, you win something, right? And so there's a reflex that happens when you win. You get complacent because everybody's congratulating you and telling you how awesome you are and how great you are, and everyone has nothing but great things to say about you. And so that hunger dissipates. It goes away, or it certainly decreases, and you're not as aggressive as you need to be. You're not as pursuant as you need to be. I'm looking for the right word, but I think you're getting where I'm coming from. And so in no way am I trying to disparage these ladies. Obviously they've accomplished a lot, and they won the championship because they deserved to win, and they did the things that necessary to win. But whether it's basketball or football or business or life, it's hard to repeat, because everything that you did to win that championship, that client, that project, that promotion, everything that you did to win, it's almost as if you're starting at zero again. You're starting over, And in the Playbook Principles, I talk about how life is a continuum. And as soon as you reach the mountaintop, you reach the summit, whatever you're going after, as soon as you get that thing, it's like, okay, I gotta go down again, It's like climbing a mountain. Even if it's a Mount Everest, whatever mountain it is, you climb that mountain, but there's nowhere else to go. So now you gotta go down and then climb the mountain again. And so for a lot of people, that's not natural, because how many people win? In every sports league there's only one champion. So in the NFL, there's 32 teams, but only one team wins the championship. So there's 31 other teams that don't win. And usually it's the same teams that win, and it's the same teams that don't win. So if you don't win often, how do you know how to behave when you do win? And really what the secret is of why it's hard to repeat, and what you need to do in order to repeat, is basically you have to think like the other 31 teams or the other teams that didn't win in order to repeat. If you think like a champion, the likelihood is you're not going to repeat because the championship was last year. We're in this year. If you think like, okay, well, I got the promotion now, so I'm straight. No, you're not. Because now you got to think like the person who doesn't have the job. Because the person who doesn't have the job, that wants the job, they're going to be aggressive in the pursuit of that job. Because just like you get the job, you can lose the job. Just like you get the promotion, you can be demoted. Okay? There's an exit and an entrance. It can go either way. It's all determined by your attitude. And the people who get it, the people who understand that repeating is hard, they understand that they can't think like, well, we're the champions and look at my ring and look at the banner. No one cares about that. If anything, they're gunning for you because you have the ring and because you have the banner. And your attitude has to switch. Once the parade is over, once the dinner is over, your attitude has to switch. Even in relationships, people get complacent when they get a person to agree to a relationship or even marriage. They get complacent. And I've done that, I got complacent where, you just take for granted that person's going to be there forever. But the truth of the matter is that no one is bound to stay in anything. They can leave whenever they want. They're making a choice to stay. And so what are you doing to keep that person? And even when you do everything, it still may not be enough, but you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you think, right? You got to change the way you think. You have to think in terms of, okay, I got this new client, right? And again, the natural thing to do is to be complacent and say, well, we got the client and we're just going to do what we need to do to keep the client. No, you need to do what you did to get the client. You got to do what you did to get the promotion. And I would dare say even do more than that. Okay? Tim Grover talked about it in Winning. He said, you can't come back the same. Once you've won, you can't come back the same. You got to do new work, different work. You can't do the same things. And I know what I just said, right? But he said what he was trying to say was that you can't do the same things at the same level. You got to go to a higher level. You got to do more in order to repeat. And I didn't follow the New York Liberties season like that, but there may be some of that. Usually when teams don't repeat, it's because they didn't take the next step. Because now you're going against teams that want that trophy. They want that recognition. Because when you win, things come with it. Money comes with it. Attention comes with it. Praise comes with it. Okay? And there's teams that are looking at you and that's what they want. They want it. They want that. And so are you going to be as aggressive and, like I said, maybe even more aggressive in order for you to have that taste of winning again, in order for you to get the trophy again? It's hard to repeat because people they either don't understand that their mindset has to shift or they just refuse to do it. And they say, well, winning was good. It was good for me to win. I can check that off the box, right? But they never get back and they never repeat. And, that's their last promotion and that's their last client because they didn't understand what it took in order to get the next one, right? In order to get the next one, the minimum, the baseline of what you have to do is what you did last year. You got to get to that point just to start from zero. Then you do more in order to get the next win. So hopefully the New York Liberty are using this as a teaching moment. And like I said, I don't know all what they did, and they may have done the work for all I know. But there's many other examples. If it's not them, there's many other examples of teams who got a little bit too comfortable, a little bit too complacent, and as a result, they didn't repeat. They didn't get back. And it's not just teams, but also people. So thank you so much for listening. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Playbook Radio. If this episode helped you, please share it with family and friends. For more about Playbook strategies, please go to GameplanPlaybook.com.